This table was made for the side. Looks like it's screaming, mouth open wide. So when you see the googly eyes, remember, we aren't staining this guy. The best projects to start flipping furniture with or to try new things on are the smaller projects. A singleton side table is a really good candidate to test things on, and believe me, I have a lot of new things to try. I also did this makeover with only one power tool. Welcome to the strange world of reconstructing Emily. Come for the furniture and stay for the weird comments. You are being warned now. This is a popular mid-century modern brand. However, it is rift or quarter sawn cut oak veneer that has parallel grain lines. It's not very interesting to me, and I'm going to use paint. I will show you the brand of the side table at some point in this video. But when you buy furniture, it's important to look objectively at the quality. I'm not saying this is a bad piece, but merely that the quality isn't as good as some of the other pieces I've seen from this brand. Now that the precursory warnings are out of the way, I removed the base of this piece because it looked weird to me. It was neat, but just not very flattering to the Real Monsters look of the side table. So I think we can do better. Once it was removed, the veneer peeled off the bottom, which is indicative that this piece was likely exposed to extensive humidity at some point. So I peeled the rest of it off and I sanded the glue down with 120 grit sandpaper to smooth everything out. I did have every intention of putting some stain on this side table, at least a portion of it, so I started to remove the finish using my carbide scraper. I ended up finding that this was a really thick finish, and so I just switched over to Quick Strip 15-minute formula. I was able to try out a new tool that I'd picked up, which is this Warner 3-in-1 stripping brush. The oak veneer had grain filler, and this allowed me to scrub the grain filler with the stripper instead of sanding the veneer down. This would be very useful for blonde finishes, which often have grain filler, and I kind of wish I purchased it sooner, to be honest. I neutralized the stripper after scraping it off with mineral spirits and steel wool, and once everything was dry, I hand sanded the surfaces with 120 grit sandpaper. While I was using the stripper, I noticed that a back swath of the veneer was no longer adhering to the side, so I put some wood glue into a syringe and I filled between the veneer and the substrate. I'd also noticed that when I was moving it, the top had also started to come away, so I applied some glue there as well and clamped it together. After all of this work, I decided I didn't want to stain the table, I was going to try a wash instead, and I selected Millie Boutique Mineral Paint for this project, and it's my first time using it. And the color I selected for the wash was Charlie Latte, and Black Bear is going to be my secondary color. I also was sent 2 additional brushes and a brush cleaner with this order. Thank you. And the brushes are awesome, and I loved using the sleek brush. I used tape on the side table to go for that two-tone look. I wanted to minimize the appearance of a screaming side table by using 2 different colors. For the wash, I diluted Charlie Latte to the consistency of half and half. I did it backwards. I should have added water and stirred instead of starting off with a big cup of water. However, when the wash was applied, it went on very nicely, and it created a slightly opaque color, which was pretty cool. I started to notice the appearance of these little freckle marks on the surface that were not there before I applied the wash. This was a wood bleed. It is my first oak veneer wood bleed, so rather than stripping the paint off and using an oil-based stain, I just decided to seal the entire side table in a clear shellac and paint the top in Charlie Latte. I applied 2 coats of Charlie Latte to the tops, sides, and drawer faces. Coverage was great with this paint. I then moved my separating tape line to cover the line where the Charlie Latte coat had ended after it dried. I applied 2 coats of Millie Black Bear. I am a black paint enthusiast. I love to use it. It looks great against pretty much any wood tone. It's just lovely. And this black paint was awesome to use. The coverage was achieved in 2 coats. Before applying the top coat, also from Millie, I sanded the paint down with a 600 grit sandpaper. I used different pads for the different colors, wiping the surface with a tack cloth to collect the dust. This is a water-based top coat. I would say it's very close to Varathane and General Finishes in application. It goes on thin and dries relatively quickly. I applied 2 coats to the body and 3 coats to the top and the shelf. I did use 400 grit sandpaper before applying the final coat. For the hardware, since I removed the base, we needed to give this piece some legs. I ended up purchasing these from Home Depot along with brackets for mounting. And I wanted the silver parts to match the drawer pulls on the side table itself. I was torn between 2 colors and ultimately settled on flat burnished amber. It has a warm tone, and I thought it would look nice against the contrasting colors. I applied 2 coats, and then I sealed the dried coats with a coat of Rustoleum satin clear coat. After that dried, I removed the tape and applied 2 coats of satin finish to the wood, keeping it true to its color. To attach the brackets to the bottom of the side table, I pre-drilled the holes for the plates. The included screws would not go through the bottom and looked good, so I used them. To finish off the piece, I applied furniture polish to the drawer slides and the inside of the drawers. I did this using my dedicated wax brush, and I came back and wiped the excess off after about 20 minutes with a lint-free cloth. Before I show you what it looks like, here's what it looked like to start. And here is what the end result is. I do like the paint with the wood grain popping through. I think it adds texture, but I think if I could go back, I would have scuff sanded and painted it, specifically for the top to be smoother. But I was able to use this piece to test out several new products, and I'll link them below in the description box. If you want to see another mid-century modern side table with stain and paint combo, check out the video on the screen, and if you've made it this far, click the like button. Thanks.